Welcome to the JSW 432 podcast. I'm Spike. I'm here to bring awareness, to bring knowledge, information, and everything that I can contribute through my experience since I've been here on this planet to help some of you. I can't help everybody, but I could help myself. I can help my friends. I can help my family. But overall, I can help people who understands and are ready for the assistance. Like I said, when the student's ready, the teacher will come. So I've always had that idealism in regards to how to convey knowledge in ways that can give several different examples. And we often maybe give up too early when we're learning things. And what happens is that when we give up things too early, we tend to dismiss that whole category or the knowledge or whatever it may be, that topic, and then just kind of walk away from it overall thinking there's nothing to gain, nothing to learn, nothing to contribute. So all those things become part of the mistakes I think we all make by quitting too early. So let's start to go down that road. Of course, my podcast is on Buzzsprout. It comes on also on YouTube with the video compilation or accompaniment with it, as well as Facebook. It's loaded up in the Facebook MMEG 369 page. You can also Twitter me at Jeff Spike Wong at Twitter. And I have tons of stuff that I like to share with you. But today we're going to go into the MMEG and kind of look at that concept of what is overall with music, magic, energy, and God, and overall of those things. So with that being said, let me just bring up a key point to regards to music and magic and how that ties into, I think, a lot of things that is currently and has been in an entertainment business for quite a while. For some of you who don't know my history, I have been a professional musician coming out my junior in high school, and then eventually I got into music retailing, selling music instruments. From there, I was also a music instructor, so I was in private lessons as well as group lessons. And when I moved to Los Angeles to pursue a recording career, I also got involved with record distribution, planning, marketing for Warner Brothers. So it was Warner Electra Atlantic over at Chatsworth, which was the biggest distribution for West Coast and Hawaii and Alaska and those places where, major records such as Madonna, Van Halen, Prince, Tom Petty, on and on and on, all those labels. I was a part of getting those to your hands via distribution, marketing, inventory, all those great things. Learned quite a bit from it. Now, music is something that I think a lot of us embrace, and I know I had a paradigm when I was much younger. Once I discovered music, was very intrigued. And once I start to learn a music instrument, and mind you, I'm the only one in my family, so-called the immediate family, that's a musician. Everybody else is blue collar, working day jobs with profession and those type of things. If there is music in their lives, as often just light enjoyment, karaoke or whatever it may be. But there's never been someone who sit there and practice 6-8 hours a day like I did. And when I got involved with it, and this is the common point of entertainment in of course the tweens and the kids that gets involved in learning, is that we get excited about certain things and we got inspired and we want to go and play something. So my first thing is that being a kid growing up in America that was born in another country, there's a level of acceptance that you look for. And around my 12, 13 year of age. At that point, I think we're seventh grade, going to eighth grade. So you're kind of searching for yourself. You're searching for, of course, the common interest with friends, and start to be interested in girls and relationships and those type of things. So the guitar, the rock and roll thing definitely always has been projected that, hey, you're interested in girls. Girls like guitar players. Girls like musicians and those type of things. So there's a direction that brought that into my life. But what was really interesting that goes into that, how I got involved with music, was just simple as watching something on TV, such as an ad for Kiss. And once I saw the bombastic light shows and the fire and the sparks, the flames coming out of Gene Simmons' mouth, smoke out of Ace Frehley's guitar, those kind of things got me excited as a kid and proceeded me to now ask for an electric guitar, an amplifier for my birthday, going into, I believe, 14. So on my 14th birthday, I got an electric guitar and an amplifier from Montgomery Ward's in their catalog, and it looked just like a Les Paul Sunburst. And so therefore, I was like Jimmy Page, Ace Frehley, guys like that. And as I got involved playing, I have to say that it was not easy. It was kind of tough. So, the music thing, that aspect of it that teaches patience and teaches work ethics and those type of things, I definitely promotes and definitely say, hey, all kids, all people, as a matter of fact, who is living on this planet should try to learn and be proficient on a music instrument. Music instrument creates energy in a totally different way. It communicates with the world in a total different way. And this is where I want to start to go down maybe a different path with music that we're not commonly paying attention to. And this is the part about the energy and the magic aspect of it. I got involved into metaphysics at a very early age because I was raised in Taiwan, and the Taiwanese and the Chinese philosophy behind energy, magic, folklores, Qi Gong, Kung Fu, all those things were part of my vernacular and belief system at a very young age. So when I came here, where everything was very surface, opposed to practicing something intense, was very different. It was almost a other side of the coin. When I got involved in the music and the music started taking over me, I discovered Led Zeppelin. And what I found Led Zeppelin unique was definitely the dynamics of the music that moved me. But however, the mystique behind the band, the iconic symbols, which is talismans, lends itself to a certain attraction. Then I started to do research on Jimmy Page, and I started to recognize that how much he was really into magic from Aleister Crowley and into the metaphysics and about energy and so forth. And at that time, of course, it is not like today where we have the internet with tons of information. We had to go research in books or whatever periodicals we read and so forth. So there's a lot of misleading information. This is a part that you have to really be careful in the world that we live in today. There is a media control that leaks and gives you information that they want you to know. They kind of help you set a paradigm to what they want you to develop into. And I will say this, entertainment business overall, in sports business, it links into the entertainment business. So there is not the two different industries. They're pretty similar. There is a energy that drives the competition, the competitiveness in this direction. And it's not a positive energy, despite of how everybody teaches teamwork and synergistically working with, the paradigm of contribution and selflessness and so forth. While those are absolutely great techniques and information, the competition itself and the motivation itself comes from self-driven, self-ego, super ego-driven. And these are things that fuels the self relationship in the third dimension or the third density as our reality, and embracing that as a reality. So once you're so dialed into I want to be this, rock star. I want to be this iconic athlete. I want to be this champion, or whatever you decide that it becomes. You realize that there is a couple of things that will help and motivate this. And one of the things about music and magic with the Led Zeppelin Association, and once I started delving into the Jimmy Page metaphysics and so forth, I started to get into witchcraft. And at that time, you had to go to bookstores to buy witchcraft books. You have to sit in and hopefully meet with people and then have discussion groups and those type of things. And I was trying my best to get involved and get the upper hand, if you will. And again, that's competition. Also, it comes from a self-esteem and ego side of myself that I did not understand yet. And it took me a long time, and I would talk about this a little bit further down the road, that it took an event, a life-changing event when I was 29 to really come out of the so-called the third dimension, third density, self-driven, falsified impression and paradigm of how life was. Once I was so-called cleansed or rebirthed or had the major paradigm shift at 29, then it started me onto a total different road at that point. The reality of what is actually going on when I was developing my professional career is that I did everything what I saw the so-called the media was promoting, the periodicals, the books, the videos. MTV was just popping, so all of a sudden, hey, everybody who you saw once a year in concert was able to show up on a video once every 2-3 hours, and this was fantastic. So the aspect of wanting to become a star, popular, rich and famous and womanizing and all those things become a motivational inspiration tool. Because a lot of it is propaganda from the media. When you're looking at a rock and roll magazine that talks about the great bands and the debaucheries they have on throwing TVs out and women throwing themselves at them and so forth, you start to go down a road of saying, hey, I want this. I want to be accepted. I want to be loved. And I want to do all these things. So even at an early age going down this road, which I was around 17, 18, it was kind of dangerous. And I got into a band that was very dark. We were almost like foreground to death metal, if you will. At that time, Metallica just came out with Master of Puppets. Other than that, there really was not a major scene anywhere else, except for maybe West Coast. And I got involved with this because I like the power, I like the control, I like the macabre and scary imagery. And at that point, I also made a decision. I am willing to sell my soul to the devil to become a star. And I actually made that pact out loud to the world, to the energy of the world. And it started me off into a path that I nearly killed myself. And I want to tell you, it's not kidding around. Playing with dark energy with the purpose of self-serving will only lead to self-destruction. There's no trick to any of this. This is all fundamental. And I'll tell you how far I've actually gotten with this. As a matter of fact, I studied into Aleister Crowley. I got involved very heavily into witchcraft in spells and casting spells and developing spells that served me. I did things that was extremely dark in regards to dealing with illegal and violence and things of that nature to promote fear, to scare and empower myself through fear and negative energy. And all those things are not so-called toys. They're not something to be experimented with. All these things are actually abundantly available for you to use, and the price you have to pay is the irony behind. It's just like a Twilight Zone episode where by the end of this, you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, I am controller and the ruler of my own world. Nobody can, overthrow me, and I am going to be remembered. And you turn out to be Adolf Hitler. It was really the irony that one day at the end of the cloud of smoking of all the so-called everything that I ever read in magazines, I literally lived it and became part of it. And all of a sudden I'm sitting in my bachelor pad on the Hollywood Hills with no money in my pocket, selling my amplifiers, pawning almost every guitar I have, and sitting there wondering what did I do to myself, and do I need to go on, and I might as well just end this. My life is now shattered, and that path didn't take too long. Between the age of 18, 19 to 28, 29, 10-year, I had a run that was unbelievable. The things that I got to do. Sitting across, having dinner with David Lee Roth at the Rainbow Bar and Grill, shooting the shit, having fun, laugh, ha, 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 just like a good old boys club and so forth. But you know what? When it all said and done, I wasn't a star, I wasn't rich, and I'm famous. Well, that's debatable. I mean, what is famous? I could do something extremely stupid, run over a pedestrian, and I'll be famous from that. So, again, the negative energy that I used to charge my career, my thought process, my lifestyle, if you will, absolutely came back and haunted me like no end. To the point where, I actually had to destroy the works, all the books and all the things that I had. I just had to destroy it. I had to disown it. I had to get rid of it. We're talking about a lot of stuff. Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible, the Crowley Magic Book. There's several old published spell books with Moloch and just the satanic, deep, negative stuff that you see that is glorified quite a bit in entertainment, especially in hard rock, heavy metal music. Now, I grew up being a huge guitar fan of heavy music, so everything from the early Van Halens to the Judas Priest to the Iron Maiden to Metallica, then it goes into Testament, Nuclear Assault, Destruction, all the heavier, and just got heavier and heavier, darker and darker, and pretty soon Upside Down Crosses was all around my chest, and all those things to create that energy in my life, and also what I brought to the world. And like I said, I'm very fortunate I survived that. What I wanted to bring this whole point out between music and magic is something that you gotta be very, very careful. This energy is very much, ingrained into our pop culture, in our society as entertainment, as a good thing, and it is really not. I no longer really indulge into listening to any kind of metal negative music or any kind of hard rock that is only about debauchery, only about sex, drugs, drinking, and all that, because it doesn't serve anything. It's all it does is thoughts become things. If all I am doing is about having, crazy sex with whoever walks around that's willing to give it to me, and then I'm going to do drugs because they're free or they're available, and on top of that, I'm going to play really loud, really aggressive because that's who I am. If that's exactly all you're going to be on this planet, you're not going to embrace what I'm saying because you're going to think I'm full of crap. But if you're at a point where you're sitting there going, hey, you know what? I've been on this so-called hamster wheel for decades. I'm still not getting what I want out of life. I'm disappointed that I can't have a healthy relationship. I'm disappointed that my music isn't being heard or being taken serious. But I can't let go. I've been a metal guitar player for 40 years. I've been involved in this for so long that I can't just give up. And you know what? It's your choice. Even if you didn't make a decision, you've decided, right? So the whole thing you have to recognize is you can put 40 years into something that is wrong. If you know what's right, it's not about giving up. It's about finally taking the right turn to enrich, to enlighten, to embrace life for yourself, for everybody. So what I challenge you to do today is do some research in regards to the negative energy, the ritualistic things that comes from the entertainment business that's associated with Satanism, that is associated with negative energy, Moloch, worshiping. All these things you think that is only fantasy. Believe me, folks, it is not. God bless you. Remember, come check me out over at MMEG369 on Facebook. You can ask me questions. I'll be glad to answer them. And I will come back with episode 3 to go even deeper regards to energy, music. And I'm going to tell you, you don't want to miss it, because once you go down to this rabbit hole, you're going to start to understand why our world is the way it is. God bless. I love you.